Nick's not here today. Hey everybody, welcome. Hello, welcome to Office Hours. My name is Andrew Hochradel. Oh yeah, he's not here. So Nick is out today, but he will be joining us live remote. We'll use our imaginations for that. He will be joining us to teach us some Dimension today. But for now, it's just me. We're hanging out. Hello, I am a designer in Southern California. My name is Andrew Hochradel. If you're just joining us, I am your camp counselor for the next, let's see, I think we have 10 weeks next. And what did I do to Nick? We have about 10 weeks left in our series of summer camp here at Office Hours. If you're just joining us, Office Hours is a show that happens every Friday here on Behance. It is your creative community camp out every single Friday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yes, Wade says we have a missing camper. That is true. We have a missing camper. Nick is my buddy, so I am responsible for losing my buddy. And speaking of our buddies, I want to make sure that I plug something very special, and that's right down here. It's our Discord. So our Discord is a great place to get connected, to join our community, to really find a place and a buddy. This semester we have been having buddies that have been keeping us accountable, that have been helping us to work on different projects, to really do cool stuff as we go along, and to earn some merit badges together. Oh, I forgot our vibe check. Here we go, vibe check. Let's get some music going. There we go, something in the background for us. So if you don't have a buddy, what I want you to do is I want you to head over to Discord. And Discord is a great place to get connected and to get a buddy who is going to keep you accountable this semester as we continue on with our challenges. Yes, and Umacorn, I skipped the homework this week and tagged the buddy. So make sure you join our Discord. Let's hop over there and see what's going on. Over here in Discord, we have some people dropping links to their Behance, which is awesome. Each week we will do a Star Camper. And so if you'd like to be considered for the Star Camper, we'll do that at the end of the show. But you can drop your link here in Discord for the summer camp. And then there are a lot of people that are doing the homework as well. So let's hop in here to the homework. And last week it was to find type around town, to do something fun with it. And so it's going to be a great time. Today we are continuing with type. We're going to do 3D and Dimension, and then I'm going to show you how to build your own alphabet. But some great examples here, Hype Dragon, some really cool script here using Climb. There are a couple lessons on this actually if you want to learn how to do this in Illustrator to make a custom brush. And we've got some gorgeous type here. This is actually called Rococo. If you guys want to check that out, Roccocco, I believe, Rococo style, which is just gorgeous. Lots of swirls and swashes on that. Some simplistic stuff here from Nick. Planet Fitness, can't go wrong with some Planet Fitness. And oh boy, Christelle. This is awesome. This is gorgeous. And Giratima, Laura, and Christelle, looks like y'all are working alongside each other for an awesome little highlight. I love that there's a team working together. So if you don't have a buddy, make sure that you go join our Discord and find your buddy. And then there's one more thing here, and that is our cabin chat. The cabin chat is something very special. It's exclusive, I believe, to Office Hours. And it is a live chat room where we're hanging out, we're talking in voice chat, and it is the place for you to be. It is the place for you to go chat and talk while we're there. I will give you a little bit of a heads up as we use our imaginations to go live with Nick. I will actually be hopping over into the voice chat cabin chat there. So if you want to hang out with me during that segment and talk a little bit about Dimension as it's happening and we're learning with Nick, join us in the cabin chat. We'll be hopping over there in just a minute. All right. So I think that's it for announcements. This week we are talking about typography. We are going to be doing Dimension and then a little bit of Illustrator at the end. So get your programs up, get them ready, get them all ready to go. And you can always watch this. We do go pretty fast through Dimension, so you can always watch it and catch up. But as you know, we love to give out merit badges, and we give those out in our Discord. And today the merit badge is going to be That's right, the Alphabet Explorer Merit Badge. We are going to be working all with type today, and if you do the challenge and you post your work in Discord, you will be getting the Alphabet Explorer Merit Badge, and we'll add that on to your post in Discord once you post it this week. So with that said, what I want you to do is all go to this link right down here. Join me over in the Cabin Chat channel, and we're going to hang out. And let's go ahead and hop into our first Merit Badge. All right, so we are going to hop into Dimension. Yes. Nick, I'm pretty much just going to sit back and watch you do this because I am not familiar with Dimension, but you are, and you're really good at it. So I'm just going to sit here and watch. So please take it away.
But ask questions as we go through.
I definitely will ask questions because I will be confused.
It is, and it's still foreign to me in a little bit because of this texting being pretty new to it. And it's part of the newest release that I think was about a year ago, and they've even refined it even some more. So if you are using Dimension, make sure you're using the most up-to-date one. And yeah, let's get to it. We started with this blank canvas, and all I did was I applied a nice color green to the background here. That's literally as simple as clicking over here, picking a nice color. I'm going to go in our camp kind of vibe here, and we'll do a little summer camp text kind of treatment here.
Yes, fun. And this will be our merit badge this week. We haven't had a merit badge since we cleaned up our desktops, since we did file structure. So this is hands-on. Hopefully you guys can follow along. You can do this as we go. If not, you can go back and watch the replay. But please do this and then join our Discord, and you will be able to earn that merit badge.
Can't wait to see it. It's going to be a blast. Yeah, so you got some simple controls here. You can control the canvas size and your resolution here prior to doing anything you want to do. It's very much like a Photoshop file as well. The bigger this actual artboard and the higher your resolution, the better the output's going to be. It's not vector in that way where it could be any size and scalable. So this is a good kind of starting point. We've got it at 1024 by 768. And I've got it at 300 DPI. When you get over here, if you haven't been onto this Dimension world yet, libraries, basically everything you have in your libraries based on where you are. We still have our summer camp badges here loaded. The other one is starter assets, and this is everything that the program kind of comes with. This is all the fun freebie stuff, and you can see it's done it all. It's got basically everything.
Which is a lot. Like, there is a ton of stuff available to you in there if you just want to go around and play around. There's like, you're not like, oh, I only have a few things. Like, there's literally so much in there for you to play around with.
Yeah, and the best thing too is most of this stuff is the free basics that come with the application. If you go onto Adobe Stock, there's a ton of other 3D ones you can get on there as well. We're not even going to be touching those because we're just going to be using type with this one, which is really, really fun. Sweet. So again, you can go right up here. You can filter by basic shapes, by just the materials, just by lighting, whatever you want, okay? So we're going to go back here to the basics. Here's your new one. This is text. And basically, this is new to the app. It's never been there. I'm going to click it. And basically what we're going to get here is this type in three-dimensional format right there.
Ooh, a little lorem ipsum. And
exactly.
Just for reference for you, chat, if there is any like weird audio or you hear Nick like cutting in and out, this is super processor heavy because it's rendering real-time 3D, the magic of Adobe Sensei. If anything gets cut off, Nick, I'll ask you to repeat kind of as we go.
Perfect.
But bear with us, chat. It is very intense what we're doing right now.
Perfect. So I've just put it in there, and all I've done is with this tool here, when it's selected, you see this kind of like control panel here. This allows you to move it basically in position on the board. So I can bring it closer by doing here, back and forth, right and left. Now you'll notice this one, when I brought it here, you'll see it's like right on the baseline, right there. I'm actually floating the text up, okay? So like that, all I've done is kind of brought it up here. I have the text box here with that ready to go. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put summer camp in here. And for just the sake of this one, maybe what I'll do is I'll do it as a double stack here. So let's go summer, line break, camp. Okay.
Sweet.
All of a sudden, I got to raise this guy up a little bit more. There we go. All right.
And can we move that panel, the type panel, up to the top? My video is like hidden behind the type stuff that you're doing on the text.
Is that better?
Sorry, the actual panel where you just typed into, where you typed the text into.
Oh, this one here?
Yes. Is there a way to drag that whole module up? There we go. Let's do that. That's fine. Just drag it over to the side.
Is that better?
A little bit more.
Oh, hold on for a second. Let's see. How's that?
A little bit more.
Yeah.
My head is too big. Right there. That's good. All right.
Perfect.
Now you guys can see all the settings.
Yeah, there we are.
Got it.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So we've got this ready to go. We've put our summer camp together. Here's where you can actually have some fun. And this is where it goes right to your particular library of what you use. Okay. So I'm going to find this one. I think it's called Bungee. This is a kind of a fun one to mess around with. Let's see. I'm just going to go BUN.
I love as designers, we have like the vibe that we want, and then we just have like 9 random words in our brain that somehow correlate to like what we want. Like, Bungee. Yes, Bungee.
Very cool, right? Here, now this is just like everything else. You have, you basically have all of these presets here for the align left, center, whatever you want, right? You have this as well. So it looks like I need to go maybe, let's see, does this help? Let's go here. Oh, we're already getting a little bit of a freeze with the application. I can feel it already.
It's happening. You feel the processing. Also, so when you're an illustrator and you like hit whatever hotkey and the perspective grid pops up and you're like, what's going on? That's what we're working on. Like, that's what's happening here. This is what it's actually for, is to move things around in 3D.
Isn't that great? It's always good, right? So fun thing we could do here is now we can start to go into size, depth, and all this other stuff. So all I've done is, again, I've raised it above. We now have this here. With sizing, I've got it at 13 centimeters, but the depth here, what's really cool about this is I'm not getting the controls of it. Why is that not happening? We should be getting a little bit of, let's see.
Sliderness?
Yeah. So interesting. We are not getting, let's just do it manually and try it. So we're at 10 centimeters. I'm going to go 10 here. There we go. So we basically added the 3-dimension to it, ready to go. Look at that. Now the bevel's kind of neat too. When you click on this one, all of a sudden you get the most incredible kind of stuff to mess around with and play with. So here I've got classic. I can go to round. So basically you got that kind of Nickelodeon vibe going there really quick, right? So if I mess around here, I'm going to go to square outline. This one's kind of cool. You can see what it's doing. Is it's basically giving you this square bevel and its outline, and you got that inset side as well, which is pretty really cool there.
And sorry, I'm just going to pause you. And again, this is an office hours moment. This is just completely off topic from what we're talking about. When you said Nickelodeon, I was like, oh, I feel like Nick has done stuff for Nickelodeon. And then I thought about the latest episode of Loki. Nick.
Oh my God.
Nick, like just tell everyone about it. Like, we'll take a quick little break on this. Tell everyone what happened on the latest episode of Loki on Disney+.
Yeah, so it's episode 2. I'm not giving anything away, but it takes place in the future, and they're in like a Target store. And he randomly falls into this pile of toys. And the boxes he falls into are basically this product I designed a few years ago, which was called Gizmo, the robotic dog. And they needed, I guess, packaging to look very futuristic. And he falls into this huge box pile of them, and they're all over him. I screen capped the heck out of it. It's a blast. So definitely catch that. I'm glad you brought that part up.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, oh man, I wanted to talk about it and I forgot. And I watched the episode and I was like, Nick, yay!
That was pretty cool.
All right,
really neat.
Back into Dimension. Let's go ahead and keep going for it. Also, sorry, can we do one thing with this real quick?
Sure.
If you move it or rotate it, I just want to show that I think the lighting updates in real time, right?
Oh, look at that.
Ooh.
Good. Look at this.
Magic.
So you can see it's not really giving any of those weird, crazy effects, only here on the front. So I'm going to try to get, it a little bit more here, and we'll bring this down here. Perfect. So there we got it. I went to this part. Now, when we went to angle and we're in this square outline thing, not only can I adjust the angle a little bit and mess around with that, now I'm making it a little bit more defined. I can repeat that and I can get all those little lines on the inside as well. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at 2 like that. Okay, spacing does the same thing. You can see it actually. So you're controlling all those mini little bevels on the inside, which is really, really cool. So what's cool about this is Adobe's the Dimension's keeping every one of those things as a separate editable item. So when I do click on this text here, and when I'm here, I could start going back to all of these weird, funky little things that are in the assets. So let's go to materials. Let's see. Should we make, so we're doing summer camp here. We want maybe a little bit of some wood, or
Yep.
I'm trying to think what else we could do in there.
Stone, maybe.
Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to drag that over, and you can see what it's done is it's put it to just the sides, right?
Oh, that's cool.
Because all these other things are totally separate and different, and I can edit these differently.
Yep. So it's basically everything is like a 3D clipping mask.
Exactly.
That you can drop stuff into. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So let's say we've got, let's try, this is plastic. Just see how it looks. I'm going to bring it right into this zone and see what happens. There we go.
Oh, and that's going to change that bevel right there. That's
exactly.
Cool.
So now I can see that the bevel might be a little bit too much. So that width, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. And you can see it's getting it real time. We're still in draft mode. We're not in the rendering yet here, but you can see maybe what I got to do here is kind of mess around with these, clean up a little bit of some of those bevels, and maybe we'll repeat it just once. That's kind of cool. That looks cool. Now it's starting to look there, right? Cool. So let's look around. Now we've got cedar. So maybe I'm going to bring cedar and bring that on the inside and see if that has enough. Oh, not the right thing to do. I think because, oh, that's substance material. That was my bad. Let's get this plastic, and which looks totally different. We'll bring that in. Oh, what happened? Uh-oh. Let's try this again.
Things are happening.
Let's try this one here. I'll bring it in here. It's not doing it. Oh, it's because I got it, because it's now we have, I had two.
Oh, because it doesn't have the extra bevel.
Exactly. So let's bring back up to 2, and let's see if that works. So let's bring something different to see if we can get that to work here.
Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, it's not working. So we got to figure that part out. But at least we've got something cool here to kind of mess with.
Yes.
Also, too, I'm going to like turn this around a little bit, like trying to think of something like kind of fun to like, where can we get? Now it starts looking like really cool, like graphics from like some kind of like, you see this more like on like TV shows and things like that, where things are coming at you and a little bit more animated.
Yep.
So we've got something ready to kind of mess with too. It's all together as a simple one piece, right? But in actions, if we hover over here, and this one here, basically what I want to do is I want to convert this to standard model. So when I do that, all of a sudden it's no longer text. And you can see in my text here, each one of these is now completely separate and editable, whereas before it was one piece.
And I wonder if you drag a material onto one of those, and this may not work, but now I wonder if it's outlined if you drag one over.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, pull over. That's interesting. So you could do different materials per like object if you wanted to like do a full craziness all the way through.
Exactly. What I liked about this too was, let's say you pick on this one here. Now I can actually, if you want to, you can, let's get this one back here, and we'll go to this guy. Here it is. Now I can move these independently and make these totally wonky. Like, let's say you want to show this off and like actually mess things around a little bit more. So I'm going to take a few of these.
That's so fun. And they're like little blocks, so it feels, and this makes it feel organic.
Yes.
I was just doing another stream, and we were using like the mirroring tools, but then we went back and changed them a little bit. And that way it's like, cool, it feels organic. And so this is the great way that it's like, it's very, very mathematical, but then also doing these little augments makes it feel a little more organic.
Exactly. And let's just do a few more of these, because I want to show you, once you're said and done, and these are all kind of a little bit wonky and fun, this keeps it. So as I scroll around and we see what the perspective looks like in other ways, I'll take this one and let's roll him down maybe this way, or maybe even backwards like that. And then the E, we'll move this a little bit forward. There we go. And let's do the R. Perfect. Oh, so you can even scale them, which is kind of neat too.
I remember being in like Photoshop and being on like Abdu like way back in the day, and they had some tutorial about like how to do 3D letter, and it was so complicated. And this is like the exact same thing, but so much easier.
And isn't that fun? So I did a quick rendering. When you click on this one, so I'm going to get a little pixelated here for a second. All of a sudden you can see it's showing you the real value. Click it off, and I go back to this render mode. So it's a quick way to be able to look at something and see. But as you can see, when we move this around, we have completely made complete different new. This is like, it's kind of neat. Like, where else would you go for this kind of like treatment?
Yep.
You know what I mean? In just 4 or 5 simple steps, the way it's able to do that is really, really fun.
Yep.
So we've got all this.
If you want to go back to an episode that we did during Office Hours Abroad, I believe that it's probably just Office Hours Abroad Dimension. Maybe it's Arrow episode.
Yes.
Is there is an episode that we take stuff like this, and you can take this straight into Arrow, which is augmented reality, and we could
Correct.
like put the summer camp on a table. We could
Yes.
put it on a tree. Like you can put it in real world scenarios, so that you can see it move around and stuff. So go back
Yes.
and watch that episode. I'll try to have a mod drop it in
Yeah.
chat. Good luck, or if anyone finds it, drop it in chat, or put it in the Discord.
Yeah.
But yes, it's a great resource to take this 3D into the real world.
And don't forget too, like you said, you could take this and bring it into Arrow very quickly. The other thing you can do is if you want to share this with maybe your creative buddy, or if I want to share this with Andrew really quick, he can get this and take a look at it and actually mess around with it and play it very simply. And you don't even need Dimension on the other end. What you would do is you'd go to this little share icon here on the top. And when I click this, you're basically I can do a quick little snapshot of a PNG, which would take just a few seconds. But if I go to this one where it's published 3D scene, so basically what this is doing, it's creating a public link. So I'm going to just click on this and say summer camp example.
Okay.
Do you have your phone nearby?
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up on can I pull it up on desktop?
Yeah, either one. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
Slack it to me.
I'm going to create a single link. Okay. And let's see. I will go on to Slack over here. And we'll go to Andrew, and let's see if this works. So right now you can see what it's doing. It's uploading, and it's going to actually create a URL. So it's giving you a link you can send with anybody. I've sent this to clients, and they'll pull it up right on their phone. And not only is it a preview, but you move it around and you pinch and zoom and do whatever you want.
I'm excited for this. And
right?
we talked about this in our first week of this season of summer camp.
Yes.
We talked about being able to share and collaborate super quickly. And so this is just another way to do that at a whole new level.
Exactly.
So I'm very excited about this. I'm going to cut back to our main screen while you send that over.
Perfect.
And yes, if you haven't joined our Discord right down here, bit.ly/OH cabin chat. Well, Nick sends that over to me. Join the Discord. It's a great place to get connected. And we are going to have homework. Our homework is going to be to either make a 3D lettering object in Dimension, or join me, an illustrator, in creating an alphabet. We're going to be doing some type design, which will be super fun. So either of those, and you can earn your merit badge, which will be super fun. Nick, do you have that link?
There it is. All right, cool. So I just slacked you that.
All right, so I'm going to open up this link just in the browser. Let me close all these other tabs. All right, so it is loading up my 3D scene right here in the browser. And you can see I literally just pasted this link here that Nick just sent me. And so because it's a 3D scene, it's taking a second to load. But here it is. It is full on my screen. I can see everything. I can go full screen, and I can click and drag. So this is so cool.
Isn't that crazy?
So I'm clicking and dragging. Let's see if I double click. Let's see. How do I zoom in? There has to be a way to zoom in, right?
Yes. So here it is here. Can you see it on there?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Here, let me cut back to the screen.
There we go.
Oh my goodness.
And it's all, you just pinch and zoom, and I can move it around, and anyone can preview this on their phone. It literally just goes to the browser, and you have this URL link that creates this great preview. They can move it around, make sure it's the exact same, everything they want, and it's just, what a fantastic little option to be able to send to people, right?
I found it. It's the scroll wheel.
There you go. Perfect.
Woohoo! Oh no. Oh.
Uh-oh, did you go way too big?
I threw the scroll reel, and I have one of those ones that like eternally scrolls, and so it just like went inside of a letter.
Exactly.
That's awesome. And you can just send this to a client. They can see all the little details, and you can see the different materials that we have here. If I spin it around, we have that nice wood material, and then obviously a full render will like really kick on our computers and give us like that full look polished render, which we're not going to do right now.
There you go.
But yes, that is an option to do after that. Do we have any other things? Nick's already just like tossing stuff in there.
Yeah. So again, like let's say you've created the great typography and everything you have ready to go, and to really kind of move forward and do something like fun, we could do something like this. I've just brought in this little ring here. Okay. So I'm almost thinking this would be like a life preserver or like a raft, right?
Ooh, fun.
So look at when you come over here and you have ring radius. So basically I can make this 20. We'll make it a little bit bigger there. Actually, I like the 10. We'll go back to 10. And then here for the actual radius, let's see what happens when we go a little bit big. Oh yes, now we're getting it to look like an inner tube.
I love when we go from like education teaching mode into designer mode. Then we're like, all right, so what you're going to do is you're going to move this and you're going to increase this so it's a bigger circle. And you're like, I hate that, so let's not do it. Like, I'm glad you know now, but we need to not make that happen.
Yeah. So look, I could just bring this cool little pattern over to it. Oh, I got to convert it to standard model. There we go. So quick little shortcut right there. And I'm just bringing this polka dot pattern over to it. And we should have that ready to go.
And converting to a standard model is basically the equivalent of outlining an object in Illustrator.
Exactly. Yeah. Same totally idea.
Oh, yeah. We have that like fun little pattern in there now.
There we go. So we can do this. We can add all different kinds of things and create like this full-on scene. What I love about this is it's almost like you are in a photography studio. You have every prop imaginable, and you can create that scene with backdrops, with lighting and everything. And just a quick kind of like look at show you how that works. Lighting, it gives you all of these previews as well. So if I can mess with some really cool ones. These are some really cool ones. If I'm trying to create like a dark scene with like neon lighting, if I want to go complete studio light, I can do that. Studio panel, studio key. So you could see all these presets, but you can always go back in there and mess around with them. You can make your sides a little bit darker. You can make the highlight more on the top surface. It's just amazing what you could do. And like, again, that wasn't even a prop. This was just us making it out of a model they have and a surface area that kind of matches the whole vibe.
Yep, we didn't really have to do a lot. Like, we did this super fast. It's been literally 20 minutes, and we have something that like we could pretty much ship if we'd probably make some different decisions in the process, but like we could ship this and it'd be like, yeah, sure, we got it done.
Exactly.
So super powerful tool. Awesome. Thanks for showing us Dimension, Nick. Stick around. We're going to move into another Merit Badge challenge, and I'm going to be taking you through how to make a font. So if you really want to be an overachiever, take the alphabet that you've made in mine, convert it over into Dimension, and then make it 3D. That will get you like oh my gosh. Yeah, that'll get you Star Camper next week. That's what will happen.
You'll graduate.
You'll just graduate. You go home. You get sent home from camp, and like you're good to go. So stick around, and thanks for joining us for the Merit Badge. Wasn't that fun? Wasn't that a good time? If you guys weren't in the voice chat over in Discord, it was a fun time. We were talking during the stream. So go join the voice chat. We're hanging out over there, and we have like 26 minutes left. So I'm going to jump super fast into Illustrator, and we're just going to go for it. I know that we're going a million miles an hour today, but we have a ton to pack in. So if you want to, you can watch this replay again, but we are going to jump in to Illustrator, and I have a couple things that I want to talk to you about before we just like go for it. Go ahead, everyone, just screenshot this screen. Got it. Okay, get that screenshot. You're going to need to know a lot of these. So there are bowls, which are the insides of letters. We have the height, right? The ascender is the highest point. The descender is the lowest point. And then we also need to know a couple things. Serifs, a diacritic is something that is added to a letter. So screenshot this, and we are going to be using, and I'll kind of talk as we go. All right, let's continue on here. There we go. So when we're talking about making an alphabet, we are going to make something called a display alphabet, and that means that we're only doing uppercase. It's much easier to do it this way. So display alphabet, only uppercase. These are the letters that we are going to start with. H-O-A-R-K-S. H-O-A-R-K-S. These are the letters we're going to start with and build a font off of. And as we start going, we'll see that H and O can make a D, a G, an M, A and V, X, Y, all those letters. So you can take similar letters that you start with and then build them into further letters. And it makes things just a lot easier when you're trying to build out a full font. We asked last week, what are some great resources for you to make your own font? Right here. These are the ones. Glyphs, Type Tool, RoboFont, FontLab Studio, and FontSelf. These are all great resources for you to remix, to take your fonts from Illustrator and then make them typable, do all of your metrics, and make it into an actual font. The one that I use Type Tool. I love Type Tool, but it's also like the oldest version of Type Tool. I've just had it forever and I'm comfortable. So that's how I like to do that. All right, let's go ahead and hop into Illustrator. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to open up an old file for you so we can kind of show, and then we'll build as we go, but I wanted to have a reference so you could see an old file of something that I had been working on. So let's see here. This one is going to be good, and then let me open one more for you. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hop in and show y'all my screen. There we go. So what I do is I always start with some lines. Now, what these lines are going to do is they are going to designate what the highest and lowest of each letter is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just start a new one up here, and I'm going to start with 3 separate shapes. I want a circle, I want a rectangle, and I want a triangle. These 3 shapes are going to dictate kind of how my font is going to look and dictate some of the style. Right? Once we decide on that, it's really going to start to dictate and make that style what we want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a circle. I usually use that for my height. And I'm going to drag this out just using the ellipse tool over here, hitting L. And I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to think about this being my O. So if I want to make something that's condensed, I can make this O very small. If I want to do something that is a little bit wider, we can do it super wide. If I want to keep it symmetrical, I can just hold Shift, and we can do a very geometric sans. But I want to do just a little bit of thinness to this, right? Give it a little bit of a squish. And what we can do, and the way that I like to work, is from here, what I'll do is I will actually put a stroke on this and just put a nice kind of maybe 60-point stroke. And this is how I like to work initially with my fonts, is I make them all outlines, and then I can go back and expand them and do manual adjustments. So we have our O here, and what we're going to do is we're going to set the O as the height. Now, what we want to do is, because this is a path, we're just going to click and drag a ruler from here all the way down to this point. Now, you see that it hits the point and it goes over the top, but that's fine. So that is called an overshoot. And an overshoot is when a letter goes a little bit above whatever the height is. With round letters like O and G, you always want to have an overshoot because visually you want it to look the same. So I'll show you how that works right now. And from the O, we can actually go ahead and grab a rectangle. And this is going to give us our rectangle shape. So this is going to be for letters that are rectangular, like an H. So we'll pull this all the way over and make sure that we're lined up on those lines. If it looks different, you can go to View, Guides, and turn on your Smart Guides. Oops. And we're just going to drag this over to the side. So now we know that that is the same width as our O. We can simply come in here and grab the Direct Selection tool using A, which is the hotkey there. And we will delete those middle pieces, and now we have the width of our H. Now, it may be technically right, but visually it looks a little wrong. And we can see, right, if this O was actually aligned to where it was at the top of the H, it looks like the O is shorter than the H, right? So we need to make sure that that O is going to overlap just a little tiny bit with that, and that's called an overshoot. So we're going to do just a little bit there. And now, when we turn off these rulers, it looks like they're about the same height. We're actually going to bring it down just a tiny bit and make it look like those are the same height. And I don't have time to get stuck into the details, or I'm going to. So from here, now, check this out. Now we have our H. Okay, so we have an O and an H, and next we need a vertical letter, or sorry, a triangular letter. And triangular letter, of course, we are going to start with an A. An A is the most triangular letter. So we'll go over here and start with our polygon tool, and we're going to click and make a 3-sided polygon. And a polygon with 3 sides is simply a triangle. Very easy. So we're going to hit OK, and now we have a nice little triangle. So we're going to align this to the top of our path right there, and then click and drag this out. Now, again, we are, oh, I'm scaling my stroke. I do not want to do that. We're going to go ahead and turn that off real quick because that's important. Now, what I'm doing here is I made this triangle, but it's too wide, right? Oh no, how do I size the triangle? Easy, we already know the answer to this because we can simply scale it to the width of the other letters, right? We can click and drag so that it lines up automatically with those letters, and now we have an A that is the same width. Now, these are all technically right, but we are going to have to do some visual changes here. Something that I like to do is I like to make a new layer. So I'll come over to here, layers, and I'll add a new layer on top, and this will just be my white block layer. So what I do in the white block layer, this is totally cheating, is I will grab a block of white, and I will just click and drag so that it locks onto the top of this ruler. And what that does is it's going to cut off these letters, the top and the bottom, that I don't want. And so as I can mess around with this A, I can drag it down so that it bleeds off. So now I kind of have an A shape. So this allows me to augment these letters visually so that I know exactly where I'm going, and I don't have to deal with kind of doing exact details. I can really play around with just keeping everything on the same place. Now I also can just make a white block on that layer and bring it to the front, and that will take out the pieces of the A that I don't want, and then that way I can still bring the O to the front. So we have our start, and that is the O, the H, and the A. Now what I want to do is get the top, or get the middle. So we want to grab another ruler and make sure that's going through the middle of our letters where this H is. Now you can also make some decisions with the H when you start, and maybe you want to do something that feels a little extended. You can pull that crossbar down, and now the middle of our letters actually hits right here. So this is going to be our crossbar, and we want those rulers to make sure that we go all the way across. Now we also want the center. So the center is going to be that O, whatever the middle point of that O is. That's the center of all of our letters, and that will help us when we start making things like a C or a G. So from here, let's keep this crossbar line right there. And we're going to simply click and drag that crossbar over to our A. Yes, and optical over visual as always. I agree. We are going to get optical in a little bit and kind of fix these up. So now we have the A looking good there. This is actually looking a little wonky for me, but we are going to fix it optically after the fact. So we have our O, our H, and our A. And as we talked about, we definitely want to start with H, O, A. Got it. Now we want to go into the R and the K. So the R, not there yet. The R is going to be almost like a B. It's going to be the top of a B with a little bit of personality. So I like to do the R because that's where you get all of your personality. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this H, and this is the width that we're going to work with, right? So the R is the width. Actually, let's do the B first. So this will be our width. And we know that we want the B crossbar to be right here. To be right here, get it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this edge right here. Actually, we're just going to, let's take the stroke down to 2 so we can still see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this width and make sure that the B goes to right here. So I'll grab a circle. We're going to grab the ellipse. And I'm just going to click and drag and make sure as we're making the B, it's really going to be half round and half of an H, right? It's going to be a combination of the H and technically the O. So we're going to grab this and kind of connect it here and make sure that our width is hitting just right. And then we can shrink it down so that it's hitting just on that line. Now, I did make a mistake here, is that we want to make sure that whenever we have the overlap, we have a point that's here. So we're going to grab a line right here, a ruler, and then another ruler that hits this bottom line. And what that's going to do is it's going to tell us where this B needs to hit for the line to go to the top. So we're simply going to drag this down to our line right here. And that hits where our overshoot will be. And now we can see that we have the width of the H and that circle connecting. And because we've designated where the crossbar is, we can actually come down here and just grab this, make another one right here, and then shrink it down to make sure that we are hitting the right B. So we're gonna bring this over, line it up with this side of the B, and now just use the pen tool to connect these lines. There we go. Oops, right here, all the way over there, and we'll fix that after. But now we have our B. It's looking a little bit wonky, but you can see that it's following all of those lines and the principles of where we're going across the way here, right? So as we've continued to build these out, the reason that I like working in kind of pieces and working in strokes here is, let's say we want to do some optical adjustments, right? So we have our three letters here, but we want everything to be larger, a little bit more weight. What I can do is I can simply come in here with the stroke, and I'm going to increase that stroke. Oops. Let's grab all these pieces right there. I'm going to increase this stroke to make sure that it is super thick. There we go. So we've got a little more of a display. So you overshoot R's and B's too. I sometimes overshoot R's and B's. It depends on the font, and that's where the visual comes in, as we want to make sure that we are keeping that visual. And this is what we're doing now, is we're going to augment everything to visually work a little bit better, because we know that the widths are the same, but they're looking a little bit wonky. So I'm going to simply come in here and grab all these points. And with these points, I can visually kind of see how wide I want these to be. So there we go. That width looks pretty good. And then we also want to match this width of the line. And even though the H crosses this bar here, visually we want a little more room here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to grab this point of the A, and because we have that box above it, we can keep going and it will keep that sharp top of the A in there for me. And I can get enough of what I want within the A, keeping that crossbar. So we can really push the A up. That feels like it's a bit too much. I almost want the A to cross where the O is so that it's consistent. So again, rulers are your best friend when you're making a font or making an alphabet. So we're going to make that A hit right there. And then optically, I'm going to need this A to just move down a little bit. This crossbar is a little bit high for me. So we're going to pull it down just a bit so we have a little more height on that A. And I'm still not loving where this is hitting, so we're going to bring this down just a little bit. There we go. So visually now, we're hitting some of the places that we want it to be. And a little secret for crossbars, especially on A's, is if you're going to cheat it, it's nice to hit the middle of whatever your H is. So grabbing this and bringing it down to where the middle of that H is, it provides some visual consistency. And as we look here, it feels a little bit more balanced. It doesn't feel like it's kind of all over the place. It's still tracking along with those letters. And so if we wanted to bring all of these up to give it a little bit of a different personality, we could do that as well, kind of pull it across. So we have about 10 minutes left. And yes, I think this is going to be the most watched one on replay. I agree. We are going super, super fast here. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit. And I'm going to show you, if you were to build out the rest of your alphabet, it's all just different pieces of this, right? So if we want to do a K, watch this. We have our H and we have our O. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the curve of this O, right? This top curve here. So we're going to delete these sides. And then I'm going to use that to connect right here to our H. Let's turn our lines back on. So this is going to be our K. And I'm simply going to use this because I know it's lined up right there. So we're lining it up with that. And then we are going to use the pen tool to continue this line right over there. So now we have the stem of the K. And the reason why I love to do the K so much is because it has the most personality, in my opinion. It really has all of the oomph of a font, and we can kind of play around and have some fun with it. So maybe we want to come off of this point right here and kind of give it this crazy top. We can pull this over, and now we can have this crazy top of a K that gives us a lot of personality, and feels like it goes a little bit too far here. Let's go ahead and bring this back so it matches the bottom. And now we have this really fun K. And that K can help to inform the Y, it can help to inform the V, kind of those horizontals as you want to keep going. Now this also can inform the R, right? Watch this. So we have the K. Let's move this over here. And we can simply grab the K, we'll make a copy of it, and I am going to flip the same elements around to try to make another letter. So we are going to grab this piece here, and then I'm going to click, I'm going to go to transform and reflect, and reflect that horizontal. So it's just going to make a copy of it. So we're going to hit OK. Oops, we're going to hit not OK. We are going to hit transform, reflect. We are going to get copy right there. So it's going to make a copy of it. I did it the wrong way again. Transform, reflect, horizontal, make a copy. There we go. We're going to drag this down, and it looks like it's a little bit too tall. So what we can do is we can actually just scale this down so it hits where that R is, and then give it some horizontal width. I'm also going to take this line of the K that we've made, and I'm going to transform, reflect across that way and hit OK. And now, check this out, we simply have made an R from the K. So all we need to do is connect these pieces right here. And now we have made an R with the K. And you can see that we have all of these little pieces, like these little divots that are happening here. Because we're using all of the same pieces, it really stays cohesive and sticks together. I also deleted our O at some point, but imagine that it's still there. Now, what we can do is really start to play around with these once we're done, and we can outline them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Object, Expand, and this is where we get really crazy. We're going to hit OK, and it expands all of these into crazy pieces. You're going to go ahead and click and drag over all of one letter, and come to our Pathfinder and hit Join. Whoa, what's going on there? Oh, there's a fill here. All right, let's go ahead and get the fill out of there. There's a fill here, it looks like too. All right, so we're going to take these. We are going to make them all one, the same with the K. Make them all one, and we do have some weird wonkiness with these letters, right? There's a little bit too much up here. It's looking a little crazy. So what I can do is just use our guides that we've made and those rulers to grab these and Pathfinder out so that now we have just a perfect letter. Now, if we want to extend this font further and do more stuff, we can start to play around with maybe some of the elements of that, right? So right now we have very, very sharp pieces to this font, right? There's very sharp corners, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is just grab all of these corners using the direct selection tool. And from there, we can kind of augment, maybe it's just the side corners. We can grab these and then round them out. So this is how you can, after the fact, start to mess around and make a font look a little bit more custom and a little more refined, right? It's a little more bubbly and bouncy now. And also, if we want to, we can start doing different line weights. So maybe we want something that has a short one side and then a longer on the other side. So we can do something like this. We can start to augment, maybe the K needs a little more variance in there. We can start pulling this in to give it a little bit of a lighter weight. Maybe we don't want to do any of that and we want a font that has an inline. What we can do is simply do a stroke here, and we are going to align that stroke to the inside. And then keep that going, and if we do it enough, it will leave a really nice little inline there. Let's do some rounded, let's do some bevels. So you can play around and really find an awesome kind of in-between with a lot of type. No spoilers, yes. And Nick is gone fishing, yes. So you can play around and make a bunch of variations of different variations of your font. Now, I want to show you a piece that I worked on. This is a font called Templeton. That, who knows? I'll give you Templeton maybe if you show up in the voice chat after the stream. And I want to turn on all of my guides so you can see how I built Templeton. And then I also want to go into outline mode. So let's start with where we started, right? H, O, and K. So we have our H here. We have our O right here. And then we have our A over here. So you can see that the A here, you can actually see the piece is that the A is literally just the V. And then we look over here, we have the O. And the D is pretty much half of the O, right? If I grabbed this and pulled it over here, you could see that it pretty well aligns with that O. It's got a little bit extra on it, but it is pretty much a cut of the O. Now with the G, that's also just a flip of this D shape We pull it over here and boom, that gives us our G. So if you have those circular shapes, the triangle shapes, and the rectangular shapes, you can make all the rest of those letters very, very quickly. The same thing with the J, I believe is the same right there as the curve on the D. So very, very simple to build out your font. I know we went super fast today, but hopefully this will give you a guide to how to create your own font, and then you can continue on to take it into Dimension, build out a full uppercase alphabet. And a question, will I be making another font this year? Maybe. Industrious is one that I had released, and Industrious does have a bunch of variations that I had been working on that I haven't finished. So we may be doing some different variations on Industrious as well. So that is it for today. I know we went a million miles an hour, but I definitely want to make sure that you guys know about the cabin chat that's happening down here. That's where our Discord is and where you can post your homework if you're making your own font. And then you also can join there immediately following this stream. To just hang out for a minute. I'll give you guys some fonts. I'll give you a link to the font collection. I'll give you Templeton, which is that font that we were working on today. It is finished. And join our Discord. There is some fun stuff going on in there. We also have the guide to all of those technical pieces that we talked about today. And yes, Umacorn says, I like the S in there. Yes, so the S, let's see here if I have anywhere that it's pieces. Yes, so the S here in Industrious is literally just pieces of different letters. So you can see that it's almost the curve of this O right there, top and bottom, and then we combine it with the curve in between there. And how to deal with the spaces between letters. Yes. So I'll cover that, and I'm pretty much just going to go to the end of the stream. I have one more announcement, but to cover the spaces between the letters, you need to go and take this into another program. And you need to take this into, hold on, wait for it, one of these programs. So Glyphs, Type Tool, RoboFont, FontLab Studio, or FontSelf, that's what I work on. Those are called metrics, and that will change how fonts work back and forth. It is a separate program. You do have to take that. Most of these will take it and paste into that program so you can work in Illustrator and then just paste over. But then you also need to not only say, hey, these are how these letters go together, but if we're typing the letters Y and A, so let's grab the A here and then the Y here. The distance on those is going to be very different from if we do the H and the E, right? So even with the H and the E being pretty much the same distance, let's put these vertically. So being pretty much the same distance, there's way more space here with the Y and the A. So we do have to push this over so that visually they look like they are spaced the same. Yahi, that's like the opposite of hiya. So you do have to go in and you both have to do treble pairs, which kerning pairs is these like YA, and there's lists of those that you can get online, so you can go in and kern those pairs. And then you also have to set the overall tracking between those. So it is a very intense process. We'll maybe cover it on one of my personal streams on Behance in the future, but probably not here on Office Hours because it is a whole different thing and it's a super long process. But your homework this week, again, to earn your merit badge, is to be an alphabet explorer and create your own alphabet in Illustrator or work in Dimension to create a piece of 3D art using Adobe Dimension. This is something that happens every week if you're just joining us. Of course, Office Hours is here every Friday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. Next week, we will be jumping into Adobe Lightroom. We'll be talking a little bit about mobile, and we'll be giving you an outdoor adventure. So this week is your second merit badge, and then next week we'll be doing another outdoor adventure to get you away from your computers, out into nature, melting in the heat, but hopefully having a great time. So come join me in Discord. We'll talk a little bit. I'll give you some free fonts. Hop into that cabin chat. But we are going to be in the cabin chat for just a minute because, shameless plug, right after this stream, Wade and I will be going live on my personal Behance. And you can follow that by clicking, I think, right below, maybe over on the side somewhere. You can follow, it's just behance.net/hoch.co. We'll be going live and just decompressing from the week and playing some Rocket League. So come hang out with us after that if you want to join and hang out in the Discord. We'll be doing a little debrief. Thanks so much for joining us today. Sorry we covered so much in so little time. We went crazy. So watch the replay, and I will see you all next week. Nick will be back, and we will have a super fun time on our next episode of Adobe Office Hours. Bye.